Have you ever paused at midnight, staring out into the indifferent dark, and wondered why so many of the deepest truths about men and women remain relegated to whispers, scorned by polite society, or dismissed as relics of a less enlightened age? Why the moment you challenge the prevailing narrative, that we are all so very the same, you're branded ignorant or bigoted, even when centuries of biology, history, and human behavior point in another direction? Let's embark on a journey, not a dry lecture, but a narrative voyage, into the hidden currents that have shaped our understanding, and misunderstanding, of the two halves of humanity. Think of this as a travelogue across the landscapes of nature and nurture, myth and reality, past and present. 1. The whispering forest of instinct. Imagine a dense, primeval forest. No roads, no cities, only the raw pulse of life in every rustle of leaf and shadowy form darting through undergrowth. This is the realm of instinct, where men and women first learned to survive. Here, subtle differences emerged, the hunter's long gaze scanning horizons, the gatherer's keen ear tuned to hidden fruit. Over millennia, these roles etched patterns in our bodies and minds. Men, in this world, hone traits of distance and abstraction. Covering ground, tracking with mathematical precision, they stretched their thoughts toward the unknown horizon, what we now call ambition, curiosity, the drive to conquer both land and idea. Women, rooted in the immediate circle, navigated the complexities of community emotion and sustenance. They became architects of social life, gauging moods, soothing conflicts, weaving the bonds that held small tribes together. These were not roles assigned by some late social contract, they were living consequences of evolutionary pressures. And though today the forest is replaced by skyscrapers and smartphones, those ancient pathways still pulse beneath our skin. 2. The Great Library of Culture. From the forest we journey into a vast library, its shelves heavy with books of myth, law, and doctrine. Here, culture took raw instinct and forged narratives, epics like the Iliad and Odyssey celebrating male heroism, hymns and fairy tales extolling feminine virtue. Through centuries, these stories taught us how to be men and how to be women, not with a malice or conspiracy, but with the subtle power of imitation and collective rehearsal. Yet somewhere in the library's dusty stacks lie banned pages, accounts of matriarchal societies, female philosophers whose names were erased, men who found true purpose in caregiving. These inconvenient volumes were deemed heretical, hidden or destroyed, because they challenged the tidy binary that culture preferred to maintain. When you insist today that biology doesn't matter, or that gender is purely social, you're quoting the loudest librarians, but you're ignoring the smuggled volumes, the half-remembered scrolls that remind us of a far more complex story. 3. The Mirror of Schopenhauer. Arthur Schopenhauer stands before us now, a grim figure in the library's alcove, peering into a tarnished mirror. He sees not souls but biological machines. To him, love is a trick of reproduction, beauty, allure, emotional intimacy, an evolutionary necessity rather than a sacred bond. He insisted that women are creatures of instinct more than reason, wielding influence through allure and empathy, whereas men march ever onward toward legacy and abstraction. His pronouncements shocked polite society, yet if you peer into today's relationships, don't you see echoes of his warnings? A man, restless and dissatisfied even when crowned with success, a woman, wary of emotional gamble, seeking security in small certainties. Schopenhauer's mirror may be grim, but it reflects patterns we still struggle to explain. 4. The Labyrinth of Modernity. Stride forward now into a sprawling metropolis of glass and steel. Here, the banners of equality and sameness wave proudly. Women lead nations, men stay home to raise children, and we celebrate every boundary crossed. Yet navigate the streets of this modern city and you'll bump into confusion, men whose ambition leaves them hollow, women whose pragmatism breeds resentment. Corporate boardrooms still brim with testosterone, while social media explodes with emotional appeals. Somewhere between empowerment and exhaustion, the old instincts and the new ideals clash. In today's dating apps, bio and swipe culture, it becomes clear, underlying algorithms may mask themselves with trend and self-help jargon, but they're still driven by ancient codes. Youth and beauty fetch swipes, status and confidence win matches. We dress these impulses in the language of choice, but choice itself is an illusion if our neural circuits are humming a tune written long before our smartphones existed. 5. The theater of influence. Step onto the stage of society and watch the play unfold. Men build kingdoms of steel, software, and literature. Women shape them backstage, through networks, through the unseen cues of charisma, through the intimate realms of home and heart. History's greatest empires fall not when armies fail, but when the subtle influence of those nearest to power is underestimated. Consider the ancient courts. A queen's whisper changed the course of war more often than a general's decree. Today's corporate mergers hinge on the trust networks among executives far more than on any line in a contract. Influence, Schopenhauer taught, is wielded not in the roar of the battlefield but in the hush before decisions are made, where emotions are read, alliances forged, and fate is quietly steered. 6. The crossroads of time. Pause now at a crossroads. You hold two watches. One ticks steadily toward distant goals, innovation, conquest, legacy. The other hums with the urgency of the present, comfort, connection, security. Which will you follow? Men, Schopenhauer said, fix their gaze on the horizon, often sacrificing today's joys for tomorrow's promise. Women live more fully in the moment, prioritizing stability. Neither path is superior, each bears its own costs and rewards. Ambition can drive progress but also unravel lives in its wake. Focus on the present can bring contentment but may leave grand dreams unchased. The true question, then, is not which is better, but how to cross the divide, how to balance the future's demands with the present's needs, regardless of gender. 7. The Council of Acceptance. Gather now in a circular pavilion at the heart of our journey. Here, the wisest voices convene, not to debate superiority, but to seek understanding. They propose a radical idea: what if the greatest gift we give each other is not sameness, but recognition of difference? To the man, they offer the permission to rest, to savor small joys without guilt for not pushing harder. To the woman, they grant the license to dream bravely beyond the known comforts, to risk for a cause that may never yield immediate reward. In this council, influence and ambition intertwine, instinct and reason dance together. No grand equality erased by superficial identity politics, but a deeper harmony forged by mutual respect, men honoring the emotional intelligence that binds societies, women celebrating the visionary spark that propels humanity forward. 8. The Unwritten Epilogue. Our voyage ends not with a definitive answer. Schopenhauer himself never offered one, but with a question echoing into the future: can we acknowledge those ancient truths without being chained by them? Can we write new stories that honor both the hunter's gaze and the gatherer's care, the philosopher's abstraction and the nurturer's touch? The next time you find yourself boxed into a single narrative, men are this, women are that, pause. Listen to the whispering forest of your own instincts. Wander the library of culture, dust off those hidden volumes. Gaze into the mirror of uncomfortable truths, but don't be trapped by its glare. Step into the metropolis of modern life with both wisdom and wonder, and sit in the council at the crossroads of time, where difference becomes not a barrier but a bridge. Because the most unsettling, and most liberating, truth is that men and women are neither wholly bound by biology nor entirely free of it. We exist in the tension between nature's song and culture's verse. And perhaps the only way forward is to dance between the two, composing a new melody together. If this video brought value to your day, please give it a like, hit subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Your support truly means the world to us.